and how do we help our brothers and sisters to also navigate? Question I've been having and just topic I've been grappling with at work, and saying to folks at work, every day we're bombarded with the physical things that we need to take care of: social distancing, covering our mouths. No one is really talking about the mental and psychological impact, and it's coming and we're not prepared for it. So how do we help others to just navigate what is about to come is going to be really important for us all.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. That's absolutely so true. How do we prepare for that? Can we prepare for that?
I can't get on the video.
Hi, is this Meg?
I know, and I'd like to say that the am I got feedback?
We hear you, Meg.
Okay. The beginning of this, know thyself. It's a message we've been trying to hear for thousands of years. And all through, I keep hearing the message of all indigenous mythology. Protect the divine within. Don't lose your soul. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I hope we win, and that all of those messages from all of those wise men and women will get through.
Beautiful. Thank you, Meg. Thank you all for sharing your learning edges, and I'd like to pass over to Falami and Joe to wrap us up.
Okay. I've got a surprise, if you don't mind. It's a poem about spring. Okay. All right. Let me find it here. Okay. Cyclical horizon. This was written right when this all began. As the Lenten season begins to dwell in the light of the landscape, as our vision strengthens in length, breadth, and depth, as we see the augmented detail of light, dark, we look forward and backward through our spiritual year, deeper inner light. In a medieval Cistercian monastery, Christ lit the center of time. His death and resurrection thus became the center of the canonical year. Everything before built up to the moment of his return, everything after drifted through a Pentecostal departure from the coast of our belonging. The year is a voyage, and we travel in language from light to space. Sometimes referred to as the windows of the soul, the eyes, according to William, also serve as the doors of perception, and not only inform us of the location of our source of light, but also draw us into the warmth of our sense of being. We may serenely and metaphorically let the light inside, but as we do, our other senses awaken. Through the warmth within, we and recall the foreign nutty acidity whose memories foam unharnessed. And then we hear the crack and whistle of the wind as the weather sharply snaps us shut and pulls our force toward the earth. We long for the familiar with the return, but the newness of life inevitably pops open a fresh, calling our attention to the presence and the newborn baby Jesus left in our boots. Calling our attention to the presence that the newborn baby Jesus left in our boots during solstice. perhaps expecting, perhaps waiting for our return. And there is never anything like it. Spring is always remarkable because the light sprouts forth with sudden blooms. The startling appearance of awakened pear tree, new coats of maple leaves begin with abstract color impressions and then quickly overtake the edges of sunsets, which begin to linger well into the late evening until the rosy fingertips of dawn tickle our feet to awaken our response in the light and comfort of each new morning. We are not alone in sensing the extension of light. The fluffy round robins make their evening carousels and show off their soft down with pillowed bellies. The cardinals return with earthen chordata and extend their love-laced throaty whistles deep into the evening. The sun dances of the woodcock and timberdoodle sway up and down, caressing the wind. Everything in our midst creates infinitely everything in our midst. After these Lenten reflections, it becomes apparent that we do not house the Spirit, but rather the Spirit lives, breathes, and returns through us. Just as earthworms, grubs, and slugs that burrow and plow our soil to weave their way out of their holes in the ground and present themselves for the first time, we realize in the company of creation that we are neither one nor are we alone after all. And the soft touches of light that grace our memories with the first hints of a distant, powerful source, at the same time grace our senses and hallow our inner candescence with the fragrant glow of newfound warmth. Life emerges with the reemergence of light, assuring us that we are not alone as we travel in prayer. When we breathe deep within, we go on an internal metaphor of place that is often sacred and dear to us because we feel the presence of a home that we never left. We silently go on a journey to a place that we know isn't a place after all, one that serves more like a cradle holding a deeper longing. We may find transcendence in the hearth of our awareness. In spring, we walk, see, and feel the sacred presence of belonging as it extends endlessly. We realize in the departure of each recurring year that the breath of life breathes always within us. Okay, sorry, I thought I was done and I wasn't.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Thank you, Joe. So in these moments as we are getting ready to close, thank you for that powerful, powerful poem, Joe. I wanted to share this with you, and I shared this with a group of women a couple of weeks ago. I run a women's circle here virtually now. And I saw this piece of artwork in another webinar that I attended. And I hoped to, I was taken by this piece of artwork and wanted to share it with them. And now I want to share it with you because it's so fitting. And, you know, that surprise that Joe just landed on us was just amazing. And now it kind of just is, it's very good to move into this piece of artwork. So all this creativity is coming out here, right? So I'm going to share my screen here with you, hopefully. And let's see if we can. I don't think I have the optimum sharing. Are you still sharing, Joe? No, you're not. Okay. If not, what I will do is put this link in the chat box for you. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece of artwork by Kadir Nelson. And he is an African-American artist who is has put together this beautiful piece of artwork called After the Storm. So I've put the link in the chat box so that you can see this story that he tells about how he came up with this idea of this artwork, creating this artwork. And so that we can see, I'm sorry, I was reading a message. Okay. I think we're now in, we're now in someone else's screen sharing. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Ken is doing this for us here.
I'm sorry that all the videos have, that 2-minute commercial. It will end in a moment.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
There you are.
We don't have any sound on Jane. Ken, we don't have any sound. I don't know.
If Ken's got his headphones plugged in, it won't reject the sound. I've got bit by this before.
Okay.
There is an option to go at the top, the advanced options to Zoom, where it says sound share computer sound. If Ken does that, we'll all hear his computer.
Okay.
Even if he's on headphones.
Thank you.
What he does best is perhaps what we need most of all right now.
Okay.
Strength of the human spirit, celebrated.
I think it's a crucial moment, and I need to have a voice and create an image that will give people hope. I call the painting After the Storm.
After the storm?
After the storm. All of these people, all these figures in the painting, they have their eye on a common goal. They all have their eyes trained on the light.
It was still a work in progress when we visited Nelson's Los Angeles studio earlier this month, at a healthy social distance, of course. But even in its earliest stages, its message was pretty clear.
I think one of the things that we are probably missing, a lot of people are missing now, is human touch.
Yeah.
Because we have to stay so far away from one another.
Like we are.
So I wanted to make sure to emphasize that is part of being a human being is
touch.
Is human touch.
Little hands holding big, old hands clasping young.
The painting will tell me what it needs, what it wants.
It really speaks to you that way.
Yeah, so it's like it's a conversation.
Nelson started having that conversation with crayons when he was just a boy. One drawing in particular.
It was the Incredible Hulk beating up the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. And I thought, wow, this is a narrative painting. I didn't realize that's what it was, but I've always really found joy in telling stories with my work.
And those stories have gotten noticed. Just this year, his illustrations for the book The Undefeated garnered him not only the Coretta Scott King Book Award, but also the coveted 2020 Caldecott Medal.
This was the year that I was given the biggest prize in children's literature.
It's the Oscar, right?
It is. It is.
But the threat of COVID canceled the Caldecott ceremony.
But it's got to be disappointing, though.
It was a bit disappointing. I expected it.
He spent years painting his passion, the heroes from Negro League Baseball. He was going to help celebrate their centennial this year, but COVID struck that out too.
But I totally understand. I think it takes a back seat to all of what we're experiencing. That's just where we are at the moment.
So he spent this uncomfortable moment painting the better moment to come. He finished After the Storm this past week. This is the first time anyone's ever seen it. Most of what he'll get from its sale and the prints that follow, he intends to give to COVID-19 relief efforts. No small donation.
We are all human beings. We are all part of the human family, and we are all experiencing this together.
Kadir Nelson used his talent to seize on the global stillness and created an image that somehow screams unity in the quietest of ways.
I would challenge everyone and anyone to fill their days with creating something that's going to help themselves get to the next moment, to the next hour, to the next day, to the next week, so that by the end of this experience, we've created this beautiful document that shows where we've been, who we are, and how we're going to move forward.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Joe and everyone, we are at the last half hour of today. So I wanted to open again the floor for just general comments. If there's anything else that you'd like to share to any of the presenters,